amazing. Hey y'all, how are you? Tell me how you are in the comments. Hey Devi, tell me how you are in the comments. It's Tuesday. Y'all know what we do on Tuesdays. On Tuesdays, we Homegirl Huddle. Tonight, I'm so excited about our conversation and about our guests. Tonight, we're talking about pleasure, pussy, and power. Give me some hearts in the comment if you can afford to live a more orgasmic life. Hearts in the comments if you can afford to live a more orgasmic life. So before we get into this huddle, I want to say welcome to my Homegirl Huddle. This is a safe space where we have sacred conversation about all things self-love, self-care, and self-mastery as it pertains to being a woman. Again, tonight we're talking about pleasure, pussy, and power. I want to support you tonight in allowing more pleasure in, owning your pussy, and stepping completely into your power. Yes? Yes. Before we do that, I want to preface this huddle like I do every huddle, which is with, if the panties fit, keep them on. If they do not, by all means, take them off. I'm going to bring up my lovely guests, but before I do, I want you to tell me in the comments how you feel. Not how you're doing, but how do you feel? I feel amazing. Y'all can probably feel my energy emanating through the screen. I feel amazing, and I'm so excited about tonight's guest. Let's make sure she's here. Yep, she's here. So let me add you. Good. I'm happy you feel great. There she is.
Hi. Oh, let me get fancy tonight. Let me get fancy. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Yay. Hello.
All right. So, as I stated, tonight is Tuesday. Y'all know what we do on Tuesdays. I have my beautiful, beautiful guest who is going to help us to dive deeper into our pleasure center, live more orgasmically, and own our power as women. Her name is Devi, Maisha. Devi, can you tell the people who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
Yes. Hello. It's Devi Maisha. I am the Sensual Energy Alchemist. I am an intimacy coach, teacher of sex magic, and master life coach. And my business, Sensual Energy Alchemy, exists to guide women into their confidence and power so they can show up bold and sensual in life. Why do I do it? Partly because of my own journey going from feeling powerless to powerful, and because I believe that Black women are the blueprint and the mothers of humanity.
I love it. I love it. Tell me more about what exactly is an intimacy coach?
Someone who helps people better their sex lives. I work with women and men, and I've worked with couples as well to help them with communication skills, help them figure out how to close the gap between wants, needs, and desires. So I help them to be more intimate with each other.
I love that. I heard you say communication. I think a lot of times when people think of intimacy, a lot of times it's limited to sex, but I'm hearing you talk about more so like how to understand each other, how to be understood, how to maybe love each other better. I like that because my definition of intimacy is into me, I see. So allowing people to see into you and vice versa. So I love that. I love that a lot. So the first key that I want to get into is pleasure. And I think a lot of times we see pleasure the way we see intimacy. I hear a lot of people talking about intimacy and they automatically go to sex. Mm-hmm. And so I think pleasure is another thing that when it's commonly referred to, people automatically go into sex. What's your definition of pleasure?
Pleasure to me is what pleases you. It's what pleases the person. It's what brings them joy. It could be sex. It like you said, it doesn't have to be. It can be anything having to do with the five senses. It can be a meal that they're eating, the clothes they wear. Pleasure is broad. So it's anything that pleases the person and brings joy to their life.
So more so when I hear you say pleasure, you are referring to kind of like how I see it as like a sensory experience. Anything that makes you feel good within
Yes.
yourself and within your body. Is that what
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. I love that. So since pleasure isn't limited to sex, what are some ways that women can live more pleasurable like in their lives? What are some ways they can do that independent of sex?
Yeah, so some of the things that I recommend for my client are some of the things that I actually mentioned. I really focus on the five senses because I believe that our body is an antenna.
Mm-hmm.
And because we are beings that vibrate and we take in everything through this body, if we allow this body to feel more joy and more pleasure, then we are going to vibrate at a different level. So, clothing. Wearing clothing that excites and lights you up, from the colors to the fabrics, whatever it is that makes you feel good, I tell women, put it on. It doesn't matter what other people are saying. Eating is really important. Just to slow down eating, not only is it good for our health, for our gut, but it's also great in terms of allowing us to enjoy the meal, to taste the spices, to feel the textures roll around in our mouths. All of that can induce pleasure. We see all these little memes with women who are like dancing while they eat because it brings us pleasure. So those are just two examples of how we can incorporate pleasure and it have nothing to do with sex.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, especially you saying like slow down as I was, because I had to like switch gears. So I just finished up like my last workout session of the day. That's a totally different energy. So I was just like, okay, what can I do to, switch my energy? So I was like, ooh, red lips. And I was like, well, let me put on some sexy, like under my t-shirt. And then I don't know if you're familiar with Dexter Taps, but he has a song that's called like Owner, and it's like it's just like such a beautiful, like sensual, like sexy song. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put that on so I can switch gears. So I totally get that.
Take
Something.
note of that song.
You like that song?
I said, no, let me go look it up after we're finished.
Oh,
I'm writing it down.
it is. When I say it is, the song in it of itself is orgasmic. When I tell you it's juicy, it is juicy. It's
All
juicy.
right.
Add it to your playlist. Whoever's watching, add it to your playlist. Dexter, I think it's Dexter Daps, and it's the name of the song is Owner. It is so juicy.
Mhm.
Um, so continuing along with this pleasure concept, I I want to be vulnerable for a second, and so I was like in my late 20s the first time I experienced like a vaginal orgasm, and what I noticed is that it was like hard for me to allow pleasure in. So I would like get right to the point of like actually orgasming, and then I would just like clam up, and I was just like, oh, like that's what's stopping it. And so I was just like, okay, breathe. But it's just like kind of something that I guess listen to my body
Yeah.
and kind of do intuitively. But I've listened to a few videos where you talk about that specifically. So how can a woman use her breath to become more orgasmic?
Yeah. So first of all, we don't really breathe to begin with, but what breathing does, what breath work can do, is it allows more oxygen to flow through the body. And when more oxygen flows through and more oxygen and the blood, it helps the blood to flow. It actually allows it to go into the genital region, right? So we get it in there. Even if you just like the breathing, the breath work exercise is just breathing by itself. And when you tap into the body, you can really start to feel the energy start tingling in the labia and in the clitoris. When we breathe, we allow the blood to go to those places that plumps up. It makes the labia thicker. It allows the nerve endings to come to the surface more, and it allows us to be more sensitive so that we feel more and we enjoy the pleasure more. And that's true inside of the vaginal canal as well. So more breath work, more blood flow, more sensitivity, more pleasure.
So What can you give me an example of what type of breath like a woman would take to, like you said, allow herself to get in more oxygen, to stimulate herself a little bit more so that she feels the orgasm more? Like, can you give me an example of what that sounds or looks like?
Yeah, so this is an example. She, I just close my eyes when I do it, but she can take a breath in through the diaphragm, the space right between the belly button and the ribs. Allow that space to expand. For people who've never done it before, I tell them put your hands at your sides beneath your rib cage because a lot of people breathe from the chest. So put your hands at your sides by your rib cage and you feel that breathing come in through the diaphragm, and you breathe in through the nose, and when you exhale, ah, so you breathe in nice and slow, and you do it with a smile, and you do it with mouth open. The mouth, the nerves, the muscles in the mouth, the throat, and the vulva are all connected. So
Ah,
when we bring in the breath, we're increasing the blood flow. When we bring in the sound and we bring in the mouth, we're actually relaxing the vagus nerve, which allows our body to go from like ready to relaxed, which also allows our vulva to relax more and receive more pleasure.
I see. That make like I didn't understand it from like a scientific
Yeah.
perspective. Like I said, I was just like, okay, this is stopping the feel good that I'm trying to get. So let me figure out how to
All right.
allow more feel good.
So when we hyperventilate, which is what a lot of people do, it actually contracts the body, so the blood doesn't get there. It clamps up everything, and so the pleasure doesn't actually flow the same.
Yes, that's that's exactly how it felt. It's like right there, but then as
Yeah,
soon as right there, like I remember like clamping up, and I'm just like, okay, now it's not, and I would get so frustrated, and
yeah,
so I'm just like, okay, I have to breathe. And for me, we talked about like our senses, like sound is really arousing to me.
yes.
Just like I have to breathe, I have to, like make sound because it helps me to intensify my orgasm. So when I saw you post that, I was just like, oh, that's why. Yeah, it definitely works and it definitely feels good. Tell me in the comments if you have experienced what we're talking about, where you clamp up or clam up and it stops you from being able to feel the full extent of your orgasm. Or tell me if you don't have that problem, like if you can breathe through it and allow it in completely. So tell me in the comments and we'll keep going. This is something that I notice a lot on social media. There's a lot of women blaming men for them not having an orgasm. And okay, Drika says yes. For blaming men for not having an orgasm. Now, I totally can appreciate a lover who is a pleaser, but to me, ultimately, my orgasm is my responsibility. Like, I have learned my body. I know the things I like. I know what position works versus what position doesn't work. I know how to what type of foreplay I like. I'm very in tune with my body in that way, but it kind of makes me sad to see women blaming men for not having an orgasm. And so to me, like, my orgasm is my responsibility. How do you feel about that?
Absolutely. And the first time I posted something like that a couple of years back, there were women who were like, "What? No, like it's absolutely his job." And I'm like, "Okay, they don't get it." It is our responsibility, and because this, there's this idea that men know what they're doing, like they've gone to some secret school of sex, and someone has explained to them how every single woman's body works, and that could not be further from the truth. At best, they get porn at best, and that's fake for the most part. So they don't know how, this woman's body responds one way, this woman's body responds another way. But if she's not telling him how she likes things, all he can go off of is what worked with the last one and what he just saw in the last video. So if she's now having sex with him and she's said nothing about how she likes it done and she walks away like, oh, that was whack, it was whatever. My question is always, but did you tell him how you enjoyed it? And what I've heard really is no, he should have known. And then I go, well, how? How
Mhm.
would he know how you like your body to be pleased? Even if he did go to some school of sex, it still
Every,
doesn't talk about your body,
every
right?
verse is different.
Yes, yes. So, and we always talk about don't treat me like the last woman. Then I need to tell you what I like because some women really enjoy kissing, turns them on. Some women they like it, but not so much, right? Some women it's like touch my breasts. Other women are like no, touch my thighs. Ask questions and talk to her. So if we would like orgasms,
Hmm.
then yes, we need to tell them what brings that to us. And then if after that conversation dude is not listening, now that's a different story. But at least give him a chance by giving him the information.
So what I'm hearing you say, one way that women can take ownership of their own orgasm is to communicate with their partner the things that they like versus what they don't like. Um
Yeah.
I've heard too, like where like women say like the man is not receptive to, like feedback. Is there a certain way to like give the feedback or like to say it, or like how do you kind of feel that out?
Yeah. So, that depends on each man. Every man is different, right? But in general, because well, first there are men who are not open to feedback, right? And just that's just people. Um, but my thing is gently. So I like I hate to call it the sandwich method. It sounds so childish, but I like the idea of so with my lovers, I like to do a check-in
Mm-hmm.
afterwards. And we talk about what we really liked. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about what we'd like less of and
Mm-hmm.
what we'd like more of.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I don't have to go, I didn't like when you kissed me that way. Like that's hard and that's ego crushing. Nobody wants to hear that. But what
Mm-hmm.
I can say is I really enjoyed when you touched me here. That the kissing that you did, we can probably leave that out.
Mm-hmm.
But I would also like more of this thing that you did too.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's not left with damn I screwed up. He's left with oh she really liked that. Oh, okay, maybe not so much that. Oh, okay, more of that. And the guys who are here, let me know if that sounds good to y'all, right? Because you tell me if you know. But that's what I do, right? Instead of like the blaming, like you didn't do that. That is the worst way to
Mm-hmm.
communicate that you'd like something different to a man.
That makes a lot of sense. What I'm hearing you say is something that makes me feel really feminine, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree, is to be pleasable, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, when a man does something you like, like praise him. If,
Yes.
if it's in the moment, like, let him know, moan a little bit louder, like, hold him,
Yes.
caress him, talk to him, all the things. So that makes sense. So what you're saying is like communicate what you like, what's working, and then along with that, let him know like what you would in a kind way. Let him know what you would not maybe, not like to do again. So I
Yes.
have to. So these suggestions, would it be beneficial for the woman to I remember these days when I used to do this. Thank God for growth. Um, like, dude, would she just like sit through or like go through like I want to say horror, but like go through what's not working, or is it like would she say it in the moment?
In the
Like
moment.
this is yeah,
So there's a
that's
there's a practice that I learned. There's a clitoral stroking practice that I did with partners for a
mm-hmm.
while, and that's all it was clitoral stroking. And the beauty
you
of the practice, huh?
let you show them how to do it. Is what you say?
Yes and no. So I'm there, and they have instructions, like they've been instructed on how to stroke a clitoris.
Ah,
My job is to let them know where to go.
ah,
So if he's stroking, I say a little to the left. a
Mm-hmm.
little to the right.
Mm-hmm.
I can say harder. I can say slower. Right? And that practice was something that helped me to be able to say things in the moment, because we get all like, and I've done it too. You're laying there, you're like, oh, this does not feel good. It's
Like,
like you like it.
no,
It's like, yeah. You're just like, I'm waiting for this to be over. And this usually you want them to hurry up and come so you can finish. But no, I don't have time for that. So in the moment, if it's like something, it's because sometimes you might hit a spot that just doesn't feel right, and I'm like, oh, can you move this way a little bit? Yeah, that feels better over there, right? I don't go like, whoa, what are you doing? Like, no, it's just like, oh, can you just move that way? Thank you. Yes, that's perfect,
mm-hmm.
right? And that's what that practice taught me how to do. In the moment, y'all. Don't wait. Mm-mm.
I'm telling you, early 20s, I suffered through.
Yes.
Suffered through
It's
some
painful.
experiences. But listen, honey, child, at 35, we can't do that. But absolutely. And it feels good when when you know what you
Yes.
like, when you know what you want, and when you can communicate it in a way that supports you in getting more of it. So absolutely. She said ditto. So absolutely. So let's keep going. I want to talk about this taboo word that in my 30s I just love the word now, which is pussy. And I just gotta keep saying it because so many people are offended by it. It's just like if you really knew what pussy was, girl, you would be saying it every chance you get. But pussy. I want to talk about pussy. Like for me, I don't see it as how most people view it. Most people view it as the yoni or the vagina. Like they view it as the physical thing. To me, it is my pleasure center. So it's a space that I go into myself to create the experiences that I want, and not just sexual experiences. So it's like a vortex in a sense. So it's not just limited to the physical anatomy. So I'm interested to know, like, what's your definition of pussy?
Oh, agreed.
Agreed.
Completely agreed. And I mean, I grew up with it being a dirty word. It wasn't until like 2015 or 2016 that
Mm-hmm.
I was able to use that word. Right?
Uh-huh.
Because it was like it was
Yeah.
vulgar. But when I thought about all the words, and then I thought about how they sounded and how they made me feel, like yoni is beautiful, and I
It
will use that word. It's beautiful, right? Vulva, just there's nothing sexy about that word whatsoever. Vagina,
sounds
absolutely not. Right. But pussy, just the and I think of Strong J and Boomerang, like the way it just
yeah.
rolled off of Grace Jones, right? It's just like pussy. You can make love to pussy, you can
Yeah.
fuck pussy, you can have sex with pussy. Like there's so many things you can do
Mm-hmm.
with pussy. Right. And so I love the word. I would love for more women to embrace the word. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It it is a beautiful word, especially when you understand um like the reverence of not just the word, but like what you're actually speaking to. I tell women all the time, it's just like if you learn how to own that, to me it's like an energy that you're owning. So it's just like if you learn how to own that, you literally are putting yourself in position to create like whatever you want, the body you want, the life you want, the money you want, the relationship you want, whatever it is. I think women have forgotten that we literally have the power to create life. And so that doesn't limit us to procreation. That means any form of life you want to create, like it gives you the power and the capability to create it. But you have to be able to access. I think some other people I've heard refer to it as like a flow state. It's that
Mm,
state where everything, that's why I always say I'm making love to my life. Like it
yes.
feels good. It almost feels like you're just floating amongst the clouds. The sun is shining on your skin. The trees are waving hello. Like it is just feels amazing. And I really like that's my thing. I said this when I was promoting this homegirl huddle. It's just like what I really wish for women is not power over a man or like over anything. Like if you can own your mind, your money, and your pussy, you listen,
That's it.
No, nothing and no one can touch you, which is
Nope.
why I've been, we've been social media friends for a while, but some of your later content, I'm just like, that's it. Like that's it, that's it, that's it. So yeah, ladies, do yourself a favor. Get comfortable with using the word pussy. And if you have you ever read the book by Mama Gina,
I,
Pussy?
I took her course.
Yeah.
I absolutely have the book. I have 2 copies, as a matter of
When I
fact. But yes,
discovered that book probably in like 2018. I think I read that book like once a year.
it's
Just
beautiful
to
book.
myself.
Beautiful book.
Yes. Is it. So if you have never read the book Pussy by Mama Gina, do yourself a favor. That is such a beautiful how do I say exploration into your feminine magic. Such a
Yes.
yes. Good stuff. So I've heard a lot of things about do I self pleasure? Do I not self pleasure? Do I masturbate? Do I not masturbate? Tell us, Devi, what do we do?
I'll use whatever gets into people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
I personally prefer self pleasure because the etymology of masturbation is to make dirty
Ah,
with one's hands, to defile oneself.
that would make sense why they say that it's called that and they say that it's dirty and it's bad. That makes sense.
Right, right. But really, what you're doing is you're bringing pleasure to yourself. So I prefer to say self pleasure because that is what it is. And masturbation just sounds really hard. It just doesn't, again, that doesn't inspire, sexy to me. This doesn't inspire, ooh, masturbation. No. But self pleasure, I can get down to. So whatever word helps people understand it, it's fine. But I am, in my work, I use the word self pleasure.
And so to you and based on the work that you do, why is self pleasure important?
A, if a woman is gonna tell a man what she likes, she needs to find out for herself.
So
So she needs to learn her body first, and then she can let him know. B, there's power in knowing that you can please yourself. You're not going to be chasing after the dick if you know that you can provide your own self with that kind of pleasure. So now the choices become different and for different reasons. There's not this desperation
yeah.
that we sometimes have as women because we feel powerless and like the only way we can feel anything is if we chase after some guy. No, and I want women to find men that they love and adore,
Mm-hmm.
and for them to love and adore them. But that's not the energy that's being given. It's I need this. Let me grab this person. But when you can provide all of that for yourself first, it becomes an overflow. So it's different. See, it's healthy. When you self pleasure, you can actually help yourself to go to sleep when you take time with it. You release endorphins, which help those are the feel good neurotransmitters that also helps your white blood cells. So self pleasure, like sex, boosts your immune system. It boosts your mood. It helps your digestive tract. Like it gives your body this internal kind of shower. So yeah, self pleasure is important across the board for so many different reasons. And really one of the reasons why I love self pleasure is because so many women have been taught not to do it, and it's a way to keep women from exploring their sensual power.
Only
So
their
take it back.
yes, take it back. It's funny because as I was preparing for this homegirl huddle, I was running a little bit behind, but what I was going to do was post on my story just like a kind of like a we're going live now type of a thing. And I was just thinking about like whose is it? And I'm like, girl, it is yours. Like
That's right.
when I hear you say like take it back, that's what it makes me think of. And not, take it back from a sense of like we can't experience men, but it's just like if you like you said, if you know how to please yourself first, if you are in ownership of your own body and your sexual experience, it gives you more like agency to
Yes.
navigate relationships. I hear so many horror stories and I have a couple of my own.
Yes.
Before I was in tune with my body, where women get the dick and they go crazy. It's like, and this is to the point that you're making, because you haven't experienced, or you don't experience like on a regular basis, like that level of pleasure. And so it's just like the first time you know get an orgasm from a guy who really knows what he's doing, or you experience an orgasm with a guy who knows what he's doing, it's just like, what is this and what have I been missing my whole life? But when you know how to provide yourself orgasms, and when you know how to explore your body, and when you live, I would even add this, when you live a pleasureful life on a day-to-day basis, it really does, that's just like adding to, you know, like what's already there. Like you said, it's not like I'm lacking this, but this is just complementing what's already there. So I absolutely love that. Can self-pleasure be used to support a woman who is experiencing anxiety or depression?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm gonna explain why. I want to say this one thing that when man, the thought just fly out of my head. Oh, we think to what you said earlier. We think men give us orgasms, like they've given us a gift, and trust me, there is a gift. Okay, there's a gift. But what we don't realize is that they're facilitating something that our body is able to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I liken it to um, a finely tuned piano that is an instrument that is set up ready to be played. Someone can come along and strum on that thing and not be able to let the keys flow the way they need to flow. Now the keys are tuned. The keys are tuned to flow, but they come on there and do stuff, and the keys just aren't doing what they're doing. Someone else comes along and they know how to touch it in the right way, and it brings out the music that already exists, right?
Oh.
The music is in there, so we already own the music
Mm-hmm.
to our bodies, and we can bring it out in self-pleasure, or we can bring it out with a partner. But they don't give us the music, we already own it, right? So I want women to know that. Yes, self-pleasure absolutely can help with depression and anxiety. um, Two pieces to it. For some women, if you're feeling anxious, trying to touch your body in that way at that moment can sometimes cause more anxiety. Your nervous system is out of whack. It's not going to respond. So I say to each woman, try for yourself and see how you feel. Sometimes when I'm feeling that, because anxiety will come over me, and like sitting in meditation is not, it'll make the thoughts race more, or trying to self pleasure will not work. I would just lay my hand on my pussy and start breathing, and just allow my pussy to start connecting with my hand. And if I do that long enough, eventually like this pulsing starts, and this like, ooh, touch me please, touch me please. And then it's like, okay, self-pleasure time. I may not dive into it, but what it can do is, again, it allows the orgasm that happens, the climax that happens, allows the parasympathetic system to come on board, and that is what allows us to rest. That is what allows us to be calm. We Oxytocin comes into play, serotonin comes into play, and the same thing with depression. Yes, when we self pleasure, absolutely, we can allow those neurotransmitters to come through, and that helps to shift our mood, which will help us to shift our thinking.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. Tell me in the comments, yes, you self pleasure. No, that's dirty bad. You will never do that ever in life. Tell me in the comments, do you self pleasure? Tell me, tell me, tell me. Let's keep going. I think this is a really good topic. I don't think that many people know that sex can be used as a tool to create things that you want. And the first the first time I discovered, or when I discovered that, I'm like, see, this is the stuff they should be teaching us in sex ed.
Absolutely.
This is the stuff they should be teaching us in.
Absolutely.
So, can we talk about that? How does that work?
So yeah, I mean, I call it sex magic because it's just the easiest way to say it, and it sounds ooh, and people are like, oh, tell me more. And I'm not the only person who I didn't like coin that phrase or anything. But yes, so the idea behind sex magic is that just as the act of sex can create new life, right, that coming together with intention can also create other things that exist. So that's like the overarching um spiritual kind of version of it, and it's called sympathetic magic, taking one action and pairing it with something else, or making this one action mean something else. How now there's real science actually behind this, and I love to talk from the spiritual and the scientific. The science behind it we've kind of already covered. So if you're wanting to manifest, and I think everybody who's in your sphere probably gets this, right? Thoughts become things. Our thoughts trigger chemical processes in our mind and in our brain, in our mind and our body. So the thoughts of things will never work out for me dampen the oxytocin, dampen the dopamine, which are like two of the popular feel good hormones. When those start to shut down, when the production of those shuts down, cortisol will go up or adrenaline will go up, because there's a possibility now I'm feeling stressed. When that happens, our body responds as though it's in a stress response, possibly like there's danger. So it's taking all of its resources and putting them in the center of the body. So you've contracted yourself. Your brain is not thinking about anything else but keeping itself safe, or the organism safe. Now, on the flip side, when you are engaged in self pleasure or sex with someone else, we talked about this, the hormones come flooding through, and your body feels amazing. You feel like anything is possible when you've had really great sex with someone, like anything is possible, or you've had a marvelous self pleasure session. It just feels different. The thoughts again are the mind again is releasing these neurotransmitters. These neurotransmitters are atoms. The atoms are molecules. These things vibrate at a certain frequency. So when your frequency is vibrating at the level, you're going to attract that to you, because we are electromagnetic. So we are attracting. When we are all like, oh my God, and we're juicy and the world is open and our legs are ready and we're wanting to receive, that's a different vibration. So it's going to attract something differently to you. There's actual science for that. So you take that and you put it with sex, and you either do it solo or with someone else, and you've got the intentions coming together. It's powerful because it's you're really the vibration is really swirling around in your mind, and you feel good on top of it. So you feel amazing while you're thinking about this affirmation or saying this affirmation aloud. And that's how sex magic can work. It's the same thing as people who say their affirmations, but to me the orgasmic power puts this extra push behind it, because it's creative life force energy that you're now adding into the mix. It's like putting gasoline on a fire.
Yes, 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 yes. So basically, in layman's term, or if we could simplify what you just said, how this would look is, let's just say I am wanting to manifest an extra $10,000 a month. I could, I could, self pleasure, get myself to a point to where I am, about to orgasm or orgasming, and then I could hold, I guess you can say, like the vision of how I would feel, or what
Yes.
when I get this extra $10,000. And you're saying that this added I want to say creative juices,
Yes.
these added creative juices amplifies the energy that I'm sending out into the universe in terms of what it is that I'm wanting to manifest. So it's just like you said, adding gasoline to a fire. So it's like amplifying it.
Yes, absolutely. Works for oral sex too.
Ooh,
Just saying.
I tell guys all the time, we're not procreating anything. She's not doing that this lifetime, but we can create a whole lot of stuff. Tell me what it is you want.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
we're not procreating, but we create some stuff, just not no babies. I love that. I love that. I love that. Tell me in the comments, have you ever used your creative energy, in this sense, orgasmic energy, to heighten your ability to manifest things? Have you ever practiced sex magic? We'll keep going. Oh, I think this one is good. There's obviously, I'm a body coach, so a lot of what I'm doing is supporting women in learning how to love themselves in a way that supports them in transforming their body, obviously, but also their relationships and their lives. And so many women, so many of my clients and just women that I encounter in the work that I do struggle with the fact that for whatever reason, no, I was just trying to feel good. Listen, I'm with that too. I understand that too. Let's see. Danielle says yes. Okay, great. So for these women who are in a space in their bodies where, with their bodies, where they don't feel as confident, or maybe they don't feel as sexy as they used to in their bodies, what advice could you give them to support them in being able to move through the space of like building up their confidence but still enjoy sex? Because some of them will not even have sex, some of them won't take their clothes off, some of them is just like, okay, I'll have sex, but you absolutely cannot turn the lights on. So what can we, or what can you share with these women who's having that experience to help them, still have sex and it be pleasing and pleasurable even while they're learning to love their bodies?
Yeah, and that's deep. That is something that's real. So there's a couple of things that are usually happening when a woman is that deep into like the don't see me, just go ahead and do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm.
Trauma is one piece, right? So if there's trauma involved, then that needs to be massaged and worked through.
Mm-hmm.
If it's shame, right? She may have grown up with religious or cultural shame around her body, or family members telling her something about her body. So that's something that we need to work through.
Mm-hmm.
And where I would start her at is finding one thing on her body that she likes,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we're not going to try and get in the mirror and say you look beautiful today when I know she doesn't believe it. But find one thing, right? Is it a mole on your cheek? Is it the way your elbows look, right? Is it the shape of your ears, your eyelashes? I don't care what it is. We're going to find one thing that you love, would be great, like, kind of, sort of like, or if she's in a real space where she can't see it, find one thing that you don't have a problem with. Let's just start
Mm-hmm.
there. And we will focus on just that body part until that body part becomes something that she can really enjoy. And then we'll find another one that she doesn't have a problem with. But that's a slow
Mm-hmm.
process, so that she feels comfortable. Because if that's something that's rushed, she can end up really shutting down within herself, and that's not what we want. So if she needs to have the lights off for right now, that's fine. But while she's doing that, we're working on that one body part that you really love, and we're going to focus on that till we get to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 body parts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I think you made a really good point in saying that, sometimes we're so resistant to loving our bodies that, we can't even reach ourselves with
Right.
affirmation. It
Right.
just feels forced, it feels fake, and it, like you said, it just feels overwhelming.
Yes.
Especially if you're in a space of shame, because usually shame is, I am bad in some
Yes.
way. And like, it's nothing really you can say, sometimes nothing that you can say to make you feel different. And I have this saying that I always say, start where you are, do what you can, and improve as you go. And so that's basically
That's
what
right.
I'm hearing you say, is meet yourself where you are. And so
That's
if you
right.
find one thing you love about yourself, love that one thing until it turns into more
Yep.
things, is what I'm hearing. And I think that's good. I believe in simplicity, and the simple things that we do have a higher success rate in compounding on top of each other. So I love that. So tell me in the comments, one thing you love about your body. I'm not gonna type, but I'll go first, and I'm gonna have Devi do it too. What do I love so many things about myself. I'm looking at my eyes, so I'll say that. Like, I love my eyes. They are like, my eyes are like mood rings. I'm really, really excited right now. So I have smaller eyes, but like they're big and bright, and like all of my energy is coming through because I'm really, excited about this topic. But sometimes when I feel passionate, my eyes are more like an amber color, so like a little bit of fire in them. But I love my eyes. I love my eyes. What about you?
My lips. I
Yes, for the
I love my lips. Like I love lip gloss, putting things on my lips. There's a mole on my lip that I love. Like I love my
yeah.
lips.
Yes, yes. I love my lips too. Yes, yes. So tell us in the comments. I tell y'all every Tuesday. This is not a monologue. Like I have company today, but I don't talk too much. I'm here for you, so I expect you to talk to me. Okay, Drinker says I love my lips too. Love it. There's more of you here. I need to know some things you love. But we'll keep. So let's get into this third P, which is power. I think, man, I could like this is gonna. I hope I don't get teary because there's a post that you made that just really, when I say I could literally just, I read it and I could feel my heart center just like just open up. Um, let's see. Sasha says, "My yes for thick thighs that save lives. I'm here.
Come through.
We're the lip crew tonight. I love it. I love it. But so you made a post that just really it touched me in a space that I don't know that I've felt seen because it seems like there is this gender war that's going on. Like there is this man versus woman, masculine versus feminine, and it breaks my freaking heart. My face, hair, feet. Yes, booty. I'm a booty girl. Yes, love the booty. I used to. I'm glad you like your booty. But yeah, there seems to be this gender war where the energies that to me were made to be complementary are in competition, and it's just like, listen, there's no more men in the back. I don't know if y'all know that, but there ain't no more men. God ain't gonna drop no like these are the men we got. And so I say that not because I'm encouraging you to accept poor behavior. Okay, for the smile. Not because I expect us to accept poor behavior, because I know what we said earlier, relationships are literally mirrors. Like it's literally where we go to see ourselves. And you made a post that was so like responsible and heart-centered basically, and I'm paraphrasing, but what I heard you say in that post is like, so many men are misunderstood, and because they're misunderstood and because they don't feel seen, because they don't feel, what's the other word I can use? I think that's good. Understood and seen, that they are acting from that space of quote unquote neglect.
Yeah.
And so I want you to kind of, do you know what post I'm talking
I
about?
think
Because
so.
that post,
Yeah, I think it's the
well,
post where I talked about how I respond to men who leave comments. Um, I don't come at them.
yes,
I do my best to make the assumption that everybody is doing the best that they can
absolutely,
with whatever they've been given.
absolutely.
Um, and I understand that there are men who just they've got issues. I'm not talking about those men. Let's
Mm-hmm.
leave those men in the category. I'm talking about most men out here in the world today do not have an education on women,
Mm-hmm.
do not, no one talks to them about how to treat women. We think they should just know.
Mm-hmm.
Fathers don't talk to their sons, mothers don't talk to their sons, and mothers need to talk to their sons,
Yes.
right? To this, I have two girls, three boys.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to my sons about women, about how women respond to things, about the things. If you say this to a woman in general, this might set her off. I talk to them about how women feel, how women care, how women show up, so they understand.
Mm-hmm.
what our nature can be like. No one's really having that conversation with boys.
Mm-hmm.
Boys, the research has shown that boys stop getting hugs by the age of 8 or 9 from their mothers. Okay.
Wow.
So you now have boys going through puberty who are touch deprived. Like they still need touch. They're human beings. So they have no touch. They have no way of expressing affection properly because their mother has she doesn't, women don't know what to do, so they're not talking to them. Men generally don't seem to have these conversations looking at the landscape. So they're entering puberty, their hormones are raging. All they've got to go on is what their friends are telling them. There
Mm-hmm.
are no adults guiding them. They've got internet and porn, especially generation coming up now. So they're piecing together things, pulling it out of thin air. Now we're over here,
Mm-hmm.
hurt,
Mm-hmm.
right? And all of us are really looking at our caregivers, right? So he's searching for the love he didn't get from his mother. And we don't talk about the wounds that mothers give to their sons. Like, we don't want to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
When you see these men out here who are whining about, she's too masculine, and I just want to find a woman, what he's really saying is, I haven't grown up yet, and I want someone to love me in a way that my mom didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're out here looking for someone to love us too. Some women don't want to be responsible. What we want is for the guy to come ready made, ready to love us like we need to be loved.
Or
Like,
save our,
right. Huh?
or I said, or save us from ourselves. Like I,
Right. Right. And so we're upset because he can't do that. So now we have to put in work too. So we're pissed, he's pissed. And people, instead of saying what people really want to say is, I'm scared. I
yes.
don't know if I'm worthy of love or not. I don't know if I'll ever find it. I might be alone for the rest of my life and I really don't want to be. But I'm not going to open myself up in that way for some woman or some man to come and chew me up and spit me out. So I'm going to keep my hard shell on. And what I really want is for you to change so I can feel safe.
Yes.
So the men are out here like, if the woman can change, then I'll be all right. And the women are like, if the men can change, then I'll be all right. And I'm like, see, what sucks is that you have to change. What sucks is
This
your parents didn't give you the proper blueprint, or your grandparents or your aunts and uncles. They didn't. And it's not a blame. Mine didn't give me the proper blueprint, right?
same,
They didn't know how.
same.
So it's up to you as an adult now to pick up the pieces and learn how to communicate, get some therapy, learn how to express yourself, and deal with the anger that you have and the grief of not getting the love that you really wanted. But it is not the person's responsibility that you meet to love you in the way that you were not loved before. That's not their job. And we have to grieve the child in us that didn't get that and allow the adult in us to be responsible enough to say that.
Yes. Like yes, 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 yes.
So this is why I don't come at men when they respond to me. First of all, I'm not going to argue with some stranger on the internet. That just doesn't make any sense to me. But if they come on there and they say something ridiculous, like if it's completely disrespectful, I'll delete the comment. If it's something where I'm not sure, I'll ask. And that happened on TikTok. I wrote a post about something. This guy came on and he was like, why can't you all be responsible? And I just responded to him kindly. And he ended up responding saying, yes, he was in therapy because he had these issues with his mom. And see, he wouldn't have done that if I responded like, don't be an idiot.
Right.
But because I was open to him and asked a question, he was able to feel safe and open to me. We can do that. We don't have to argue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. And I think one of in terms of like power, which is why I teach women like, how to have power themselves. Because the thing is you can't change other
No.
people. All you do is It's focused on what you can change within yourself so that it supports you in attracting differently.
Yes.
And so I have this kind of rule that I use within myself is trust the masculine you choose. And so like for me, whenever I'm attracted to a guy, I know that it's some reason that I'm attracted to this person is going to, teach me something about myself. And this is when I say trust the masculine you choose, I'm not saying that you have to be with somebody for the rest of your life or you have to, be in a toxic relationship. But what I'm saying to you is like where your power lies is when you attract, like when you love somebody, when you want to be with somebody, when there's energy flowing between you and another person, that person is in a sense your mirror.
Yes.
And so if things are working out the way that you think they should, the best thing that you can do for yourself is not give your power away by trying to change the man, but instead pay attention to like how you feel. And then I love asking questions. Show me why this is triggering me. Show me why, every time I talk to this guy, I feel XYZ. Yes. And when you ask questions and when you give the directive, to your energy, you're going to get an answer. And that's where your power is. You have to really get good at understanding what people are showing you about you. It doesn't always feel good. I remember I don't know, maybe about 3 years ago, I I had this come to Jesus with myself about quote unquote fuck boys. And I'm just like, you keep attracting fuck boys because you are a fuck girl. And so like that was hard to sit with myself and get to that understanding or that awareness. But to me, essentially, like what you're saying about the guy who had the issues with his mom, a fuckboy is somebody who is emotionally unavailable. And like you said, he's doing everything he can to prevent feeling because he's afraid of what is going to happen if he's seen that way or if he opens his heart. And so I had to, look at myself and say, okay, you have that going on too, because I wouldn't do it in the same way, but I play like, oh, everything is fine. I'm okay. But I would never say when my feelings was hurt. We talked about earlier, I wouldn't say when I wanted something different, during sex. And then eventually, she said I've done that too. Eventually, I got to the point where I'm just like, sis, I talking to my shadow self. I'm like, girl,
you too are unavailable.
Yeah, and you're never going to get what you want until you change. Like these men are your mirror, and just I did the work, and I would have to say I'm single right now by choice, but I would have to say the type of guys I attract and the type of guys I'm attracted to has tremendously changed. And even like some guys that I meet that are kind of fit the I guess the mold of what I would previously go after or previously be attracted to. Like once I get a sense for it, sometimes I don't know like immediately, but my body is just like, I don't want to know. And then, I'm just like, it's a no. So to me now, when the energy is off, it's off because I know that that's my body communicating to me. And so what would you add to like what you've already said, what I've shared, to support women in relating to men from a place of empowerment?
Something that you said for sure is first we need to know ourselves. We live in this society that tells women they're nothing without a man, right? Like you need to have one. And what that does, and this is not like some like men will sometimes hear something like that and think it means, oh, so you're trying to say you don't need me? No.
We need you.
Right. let's be clear on that.
Yes.
But when you're brought up thinking that in order to be someone, you have to have something, that sets up desperation, right? It's like Christmas time. Everybody says they want this pair of sneakers. Everybody's rushing in the store. What happens? Nobody's nicely getting a pair of sneakers. They're fighting each other for them. They're snatching them out of hands. There's scarcity involved. There's not enough. And then we as women act like that. We act like that's what's going on. When you know that there's plenty, when you know that you're good, like that you're so filled up with your own love, really we need to be so filled up with our own love, our choices become different because we're not looking out of desperation anymore. We're looking for someone to share the love we have for ourselves with us. And we're going to attract a man who's looking for a woman to share the love that he has for himself
Listen,
with him.
listen.
And that, so we need to get there. That's the first thing I'll tell women to do.
Yes, that really makes me think of. I have just like my own personal mantras and things that I use that helps me to get myself together. And one of the real good truth, one of the things that I always have to remind myself is I'm not looking for the one. Like
No.
I'm one, and like I'm sharing that experience with other people, but it's just like I'm not like that. Just understanding that is one of the things that has freed me in ways that's unimaginable, because it's kind of like what you said, when you're looking for the one who's going to come and make you happy, who's going to save you, who's going to take care of you, put anything you want to put in that sentence. It's just like, well, if you're looking for the person to do it, you can never become the person. It's
Yeah.
just you're constantly handing it off to somebody else, and that's it puts you in a really, if I can say it this way, fucked up spot,
It
because
does.
you're almost being puppeteered. Like,
You are, and then that's why whoever you pick, it has to work.
has
It
even
has to work with them because you need the one, right? You So this person has to be the one, even though all the things are showing you he's not the one. But no, because I don't want to keep looking for the one. So let
they
me try and make
take
this
your,
one the one. 6 months later, I can't believe he did that to me. Sis, he been doing it.
he did it
It's just that now you
the second,
have to accept the fact that he's not the one and you don't like that.
that part, that
Right?
that that part. Don't leave us out here on this island by ourselves. Tell me in the comments if you have ignored all the red flags to get to the destination, and everything that happened in the beginning is just like staring you in the face, and you just had to be like, I made the wrong choice, and have to you just have to take your L. And when I say L, I'm not saying loss, but lesson. Like, you just have
Mm,
to take. So
like that.
comments if you have somebody, I think I seen this on social media somewhere, like I see red flags as carnival flags or something like that. Like,
Party. It's a good, and you know what?
party.
If that's the space you're in, have fun at the carnival. And when you're tired of the cotton candy, right, and your stomach starts to hurt and you're exhausted, now you say, I think I'm good on that. But
Listen,
sometimes you got to go through it.
you have to grow through it. You have to grow through it. And when you experience what real, true love feels like, you're just like,
Mm,
oh,
right.
like this is how good this can get. And
Yes.
I have to say too, I think a lot of what we're taught about still crash and burn. I think a lot of what we're taught is love is codependency.
Yes.
Codependency.
Absolutely.
And so much of it I had to unlearn, not just in terms of my orgasms, but I think I spent a lot of time, just making other people responsible for my happiness and for my pleasure and for my
Yes.
what. It's just like, that ain't on them. That is
No.
on you. And like I said, the sooner I realized that relating to other people is a lot more enjoyable, because like you said earlier, I'm not doing it from a space of a deficit.
Right.
I have everything. I just
Right.
want to. That's human nature, to connect and relate to other people. So that feels really good. What, in your opinion, what makes a woman powerful?
Ooh. I mean, Maya Angelou's Phenomenal Woman poem comes to mind immediately. Everything in that. What makes us powerful? The way we love, the way we care, our intuition, the way we heal, the way we strategize, the way we can make magic, the way we take something and we multiply it, the way our bodies respond in nature and what we go through every month is powerful. The way we can sync up with the moon like a whole chunk in the sky, we can be in rhythm with that. We are in rhythm with the universe. that is how powerful we are. We are literally in rhythm with our cycles, with our spirals, with every atom that has been created. That to me, that is what makes us so powerful.
Yes to all of that. I literally shared a post gym workout video, and I was just like, I don't know if there's few things in life that I love more than being a Black woman in this body. Like I'm like, yes, I'm here for this. Like I when I say I love it, I love it. Like I love so absolutely. I want y'all to tell me, and I think even though all women are powerful, I do think that we each have our thing,
Yes.
that makes us, it's our light or our gift or our own kind of like superpower, if I
Yeah.
can say it that way. And so I want you to tell me in the comments, what is the one thing that undoubtedly makes you you? As always, I'm going to lead by example. There's so much, but I think the one thing I love about myself, especially as I become more self-aware and self-masterful, I love that I love being me. Like I love that I get to show up in the room and I can just be me. I don't have to tone it down. I don't have to turn it up. I don't have to fake it. I just get to be me. And learning how to be okay with being me, it really, to me, is like the holy grail of life. It naturally attracts me to people and the things, that I want and that I need, and it naturally repels me. And so, like, to me, that's one of my superpowers. I am unapologetically me. I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but listen, I love all of it. But unapologetic about that. So I love that. Authentically be
Yep.
myself. That's what. Absolutely. What about you, Davy?
Same. I was gonna say that's the same, and I mean, it's something that's been told to me, but and it's also, yeah, like I show up as me. I don't to my detriment, right? I don't know. Oh, I'm supposed to show up this way. I'm supposed to act that way, and this. I was like, no, I'm just gonna be me, and it does ruffle some feathers for sure. Usually, other
Yep.
women, it's almost like, didn't you get the memo that you're not supposed to act that way? And I kind of want to be like, didn't you get the memo that you can? So I don't know.
It's,
But I show up as me. I don't know who else to be.
it's exactly that. I hate, like, have you ever seen those posts on social media where it's just like real women should, real women this,
Yeah.
real, it's like boxes are for packages, not for women. Like boxes are for packages. It's just like anything that usually comes after those statements, I don't agree with, because real women should do whatever, and I'm gonna say it exactly this way, the fuck they want. Like I feel like that is literally our superpower.
Yes.
I love that I continue growing to it and getting more. Yes, keep getting more comfortable being you. That is your gift to this life, into this world, is you being unapologetically yourself. So we are nearing the end of this Homegirl Huddle. I really enjoyed you. I want to end with oh wait, I missed one thing. I know you kind of touched on this, but people say all of the time, knowledge is power. I think that's bullshit. Knowledge is not power. Not power when you know how to implement it. Like if you know what to do with it, you may as well not know it. And so I believe in simple, practical things. And so we talked a lot about like how men are our mirrors. And I feel like another thing that is going to make us more powerful as boxes are, yes, boxes are for packages. That makes us powerful as women is to use our relationships as a mirror. And then also, like people say, oh, there's pee in the dating pool. Well, there's no pee in my dating pool. So if there's pee, and I don't say this to be disrespectful, but like you're the pee in the pool. I'm saying say that you check yourself first. I
That's
promise,
right.
when you change, what you're attracting is going to change. And so because you made that beautiful post, and because you've been such a beautiful example of how to hold space for men, can you give us like one simple practical tip that will allow women to be able to hold space, for the masculine while also honoring what their needs are.
So before holding space, make sure all needs are met.
Ooh, that's good.
Right. So before even doing that, we need to make sure our needs are met, because we have a habit of wanting to jump into savior mode. Or if I save him, he'll see how valuable I am and then he'll want to be with me and all of that stuff. So we're not really holding space for him. We're holding space for him so that he can like us. And
Ooh,
that's not what holding space is. So if we're actually holding space for men, now that we know our cup is full,
yes.
just give that man a hug. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Men don't hug women. We
Mm-hmm.
live in a society now where they're afraid
Mm-hmm.
to hug women because they don't want to offend. They don't know. They do touch me, da da da. And so then it's on us, right? If we're telling them don't touch because it could be misconstrued in a whole lot of ways,
Mm-hmm.
then maybe we can offer, right? If that will help us feel safer. I don't mind hugs, so I'm good on it. But hug the men. There are men I've hugged who are just like they can't even just stay in the embrace for more than 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know what to do with themselves. When I used to do body work, and I had male clients, and at the end of each session, I would sit and have him sitting in front of me with his back to my chest. So he just like a chair. I'm the chair and he's leaning against me, and I would just hold that man and rock him with my arms wrapped around him, and it never fails. I've never been held like that before, and it
Mm-hmm.
shocked me every single time, because some of these men were with people, and I'm like, well, what is happening here? So, so hug. If you're in a relationship, hug him. Just walk up to him and just hug him with no expectation. I'm telling you, he's gonna be like, what's happening? And the fact that he's gonna say what's going on is an indicator that he's not accustomed to that type of
Mm.
affection. That's the simplest thing you can do for a man, is hug him.
I love that. I love that. I love that. All right. So let's get into this homegirl, this hot homegirl hot seat. So this rapid fire. Repeat and complete. Sex is.
Food,
Ooh. Orgasms are. I
magic.
feel my best when.
I'm naked.
So
What came to mind?
truth. No, I got me cracking up. I really love being naked. Like, anybody who knows me knows. Like, when I hit the door, honey, the clothes are coming off. I only wear clothes because I have to. Like,
Yeah,
I totally get that. And I am most grateful for.
this conversation.
Yes, it was so
It
juicy. It was
was.
so juicy. Um, Before we go, give us your best sex tip.
Ooh, my best sex tip.
Y'all heard
Oh.
the voice on for us?
My best sex tip for those who would like to shift their gag reflex. I don't know which hand it is. I've heard it's the left hand or the right hand. I say have fun trying it out. But if you take your hand, either one, and you make it like the number 4,
Mm-hmm.
and you press down on your, don't like squeeze tight, but you press down on your thumb, it will loosen up the throat muscles so you are able to take more in. That is
Listen,
my best sex tip. So try with the left hand, try with the right hand. Everyone I tell that to, they come back to me and they're like, that worked.
listen. You heard it first. I'm cracking up. You heard it here first. Okay, last thing. If you could only have one, she said, I use that trick and it works. I use the left. Listen, I already got a testimony.
Now y'all know. Okay.
Last question. If you could only experience sex in one position, for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Missionary. Yeah.
Why?
And I'm not a vanilla person at all, okay? But missionary, because there is a way in which I can look into his eyes,
Mm-hmm.
and I can hold him and wrap my legs around, and
Mm-hmm.
he can guide and direct some movements as I let him know the movements that I'm enjoying. And it feels like such an embrace to be a missionary. So if I had to choose only one, which would be hard, it would be missionary. There's something so close and intimate about that one.
I would I wouldn't have said that before you gave your explanation, but to me, the best orgasm that I have ever, well, I've had it more than once, but I've ever had kind of orgasm is when I have a crygasm. And I usually have crygasms in that position doing all those things because it's so heart opening. It is.
Yes,
um,
it is.
I wouldn't have said missionary before you said that, but when you said that, it brought that to mind. I'm like, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with that.
Yeah. It's not always my favorite position, but you asked me if I had to choose one forever. It would be that one.
Tell me really quickly in the comments, what would yours be if you can only pick one position for the rest of your life? What would it be? As we are bringing this huddle to a close, if you are not following me, I cannot imagine why you would not be. Definitely go follow me now at I am Brittany Lachey, and definitely show your gratitude to Devi for being here with us tonight. Go follow her, flood her with some hearts in the comments. This was such an amazing, juicy conversation. And Devi, tell us your handle.
Yes, I am at Sensual Energy Alchemy here. Well, my name should be shown up somewhere. I'm at Sensual Energy Alchemy here and all over social media, or my name, Devi Maisha. You can find me and connect. Yeah, I put it in my story, so hopefully my people come and I tagged you in it. So hopefully they come over here and follow you too.
Yeah,
Especially if you want to get madness in that booty. My God, I'm just like, what exercises is she
always
doing? And the
my
genetics, Lord.
money, but I learned how to keep it. My mama gave it to me, but I learned how to keep it. Like that's whenever I was at the gym today, like I was just looking at my body and just like, man, I'm so glad I get to have this body. I'm
Yes.
so glad.
And you're like, I did that, right? I put this work in.
Like a surgeon could never. Like you can't find a surgeon to create this. Like the universe gave me this. And
Yes.
so I love it. I love it. I appreciate you ladies so much for sharing this space and this time with me again. Thank you, Devi, for being here with me. I really, really, really enjoyed the conversation. Like I said, if you are not following her, do yourself a favor and follow her. Do you have anything that's coming up that you want to tell them about?
Do I have anything that's coming up? No, I just had something. What do I have coming up? I mean, I teach classes inside of my membership community, and I just posted about that, so they can check that out on my website. I do have a master class coming up. It's in August, but I'm a little afraid about it, but it will happen in August. So just stay tuned for that.
Bringing her back so we can hear about what this master class is.
So
Um,
it's about the Black woman being God. So it's
yeah,
it's gonna, yeah, it's gonna, yes.
love it. Love it. Thank you again for being here with me. As I always say, before you close your eyes tonight, definitely consider the most self-loving thing you can do. Whatever it is, enjoy it. Be unapologetic about it. Do, if it doesn't make sense to your mind and it makes sense to your heart, do it anyway. If it only makes sense to your body, do it anyway. Do not overcomplicate this. It doesn't have to cost money. It could literally be as simple as, I'm gonna stay in the tub a little bit longer. It can be as simple as, I'm going to make sure I, set my alarm so I can get up in the morning so that I can take care of myself first before I start giving to other people. But again, whatever it is, again, go do it and be unapologetic about it. As always, tell a homegirl, bring a homegirl, and I will see you next Tuesday, homegirl. Have a good night. Thank you again, Devi. Y'all have a good night.